Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Chow with Lau. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of my all-time favourite Chinese noodle dishes, hor-fun. Right guys, hor-fun, which is a wide flat noodle. You'll find this served in proper Chinese restaurants. The most popular dish is with really thin slices of beef, a few bean sprouts. It's quite a simple dish, but it's very, very delicious. That's the one I'm going to show you how to make today. You can find these in any good Chinese or Asian supermarket. It's not that expensive. You'll find it in the fridge counter. I believe you can get the dry stuff which you make up like pasta by boiling it, but this is really nice. I would suggest going for the fresh stuff every time. Right guys, so the first thing we're going to do is to prepare our beef, and what I've got here is a rump steak. Nothing very special, it's quite a cheap one because it doesn't matter. We're going to slice it really thinly and we're going to do a process called velveting, which is going to make it very tender. So the first step is to slice our beef thinly like this. To velvet or tenderize the beef, we are going to add half a teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate and about a teaspoon of cornflour or cornstarch, and give it a mix. The meat is getting paler and paler, and that shows you that something is happening. And now you can set that aside for 10 minutes before the next stage. Now to marinate the beef, I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar, a tablespoon of light soy sauce, and about a tablespoon of sesame oil. When you get sesame oil, try to find the pure sesame oil. You can get some cheaper versions which are about 30% sesame oil, and then they bulk it up with other oils, I'm not sure what, but the flavour you get from pure sesame oil is obviously better. Right, give that a stir. And then set it aside for another half an hour or so. You can leave it longer if you like, but half an hour will do the trick. Right guys, so the key to hor-fun is the preparation, right? It's kind of quite hard. And if you just stick it in your wok or your frying pan or your whatever, it's gonna stick, right? So we've got to kind of soften it up a bit. So I'm putting, this is about 1 kilogram of hor-fun, which will feed four people-ish, depending on how hungry you are, if you know what I mean. And we're going to pop it into a pan of boiling water, and we're going to simmer it for about 5 minutes. That should soften it up. So then we're going to drain it into this colander and rinse it under the cold tap until it goes cold to stop the cooking process. And then we're going to let it dry as much as we can, drain all the excess water off, and then it won't stick in your wok or your pan. It's very important you do that, otherwise it's going to make this big old gloopy mess. Right folks, so the next stage is broken up into 2 steps. We're going to cook or partly cook the beef first, because then we can introduce it into the noodles without overcooking the beef, because the noodles take a little bit longer to cook. Okay, so got our wok smoking hot. Even in a non-stick wok, this is important because it makes it even more extra non-stick. And if you've got a steel wok, you got to make sure you do this. Hot wok, cold oil, that'll give you the best results. I'm going to put all the beef in because we're going to pot cook all the beef to about, I don't know, 60-70%. Try not to move it or touch it too much, because that'll make it stick. It won't give you that nice sear. You want that kind of caramelization. Okay, so now we can give it a bit of a flick. See, nice and caramelized. Exactly what we want. Add a little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper, Cool. And that will do for now. Okay, second stage, getting our wok really hot with our noodles, which are dry now. They're still not perfectly dry, but that'll do. Going to put about half of it in because we don't want to overload the wok. If you overload the wok, then the wok won't be able to retain its heat, and therefore everything will go stodgy and sticky, and it won't be good. Okay, it'll be a bit of a mess. Right, so we're going to put into a hot wok more oil. I'm using about, I don't know, 2 tablespoons. Give it a bit of a swirl. I'm going to add the aromatics, the garlic and the ginger. I've got about 50 grams of bean sprouts here, which looks a bit like that. That is going to go in. Like I said, we're going to put about half of the noodles in. If you're not confident, break it up even into smaller portions. Don't try to be too ambitious. Okay? Put that in. Give it a flick. Start to mix everything together. And you'll find that it's not sticking at all. Okay, give it a good flick. There we go. At this stage we could add a dash of dark soy sauce and a good splash of light soy sauce. The dark soy sauce is more for colour, but it has a slightly sweeter taste. Okay, I feel we can add our beef in now. Again, because we're doing it in 2 portions, half the beef goes back in. A little beef goes a long way. I'm going to put a dash of oyster sauce in as well. I'd say about half to 1 tablespoon, depending on your taste for oyster sauce, which will give it some nice rich saltiness as well. Flick it through. Finally, I'm going to add my spring onion. Put this at the end so it doesn't wilt too much, it just retains that crisp, that crunch, which is always nice. Okay, adds a little bit of colour too. And there you go. Easy as that. Right guys, moment of truth. Let's see what this is like. I'm going to grab a piece of beef and some noodles, if my chopstick skills will allow me to. That is absolutely divine. The beef is really tender. The flavour from the marinade is really lovely. There's that little warmth from the oyster sauce, which is nice. And the noodles. Who doesn't like noodles? Honestly guys, if you haven't tried this before, go down to your Chinese or your Asian supermarket and just go to the fridge and find these noodles. They're really, really great. They are a little bit intimidating because I think a lot of people have on their first go a bit of a bad experience with it all sticking. God knows I know I did when I first did it. It takes a bit of practice maybe, but with this tutorial you should be able to get it right. It's not actually tricky, you just got to know just the little ins and outs of the steps you got to take to make sure it doesn't do that. Okay, and then you'll end up with something a little bit like this, which is really, really scrummy. If you've liked this video guys, please remember to like, subscribe, share it all around. There's the little super thanks button underneath the video if you want to donate to the channel. You don't have to. If you're watching this far, you are doing me proud. Really, really, really couldn't be more grateful for people who watch the video all the way through. It tells YouTube I'm doing a good job and it will share the video even wider, which is exactly what I want. But anyway, thanks a lot guys, and I'll hopefully see you in a video very soon. Take care. Bye bye.